Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session with Reclaiming Intimacy. Today, we are going to be discussing a program that's designed for cancer patients, cancer survivors, and their families, essentially called Moving Beyond. This is something that we have been a part of for a few years, and we thought that we should kind of share what it's about so everybody can get to know, and maybe someone will find this beneficial and join up with us. A little bit about Reclaiming Intimacy, in case you're new here. We are an advocacy organization that focuses solely on intimacy issues, sexual dysfunction, and sexual wellness. And my name is Jen, and I'm the Director of Educational Services. Today, I've got Kayla from the cancer support community and from Moving Beyond. And thank you for being here today. And I would love if we could just jump right in and you could kind of introduce yourself and give a little bit of your background.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I'm happy to be here. Like Jen said, my name is Kayla Epplin. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I work for Cancer Support Community Indiana as our clinical hospital coordinator. So what that means is I help to oversee the programming that we offer specifically at Franciscan Health. So that includes gentle yoga. We have different social programs like Crafter's Corner, which is a lot of fun. We have different support groups. We have counseling. And I'm actually also one of our staff counselors. So I conduct counseling with different survivors and caregivers and patients at Franciscan. And then another big part of what I do is to facilitate and oversee Moving Beyond, which Jen mentioned is our survivorship program. And I know we'll be talking more in depth about that today.
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Cancer Support Community of Indiana? I know that's a nationwide organization that's in lots of different states and each kind of have their own chapter. So if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a nonprofit organization that serves folks impacted by cancer. So not just patients and survivors, but also caregivers, loved ones. Our mission is to ensure that no one faces cancer alone. So we provide free supportive services that includes some of the things I mentioned already, the individual counseling, the support groups. We want to make sure that people feel emotionally connected during these times, because a lot of times people are so focused on the physical aspect of a cancer diagnosis. We want to make sure that they feel supported emotionally and socially as well. We also have different wellness programs like walking club and mindful movement, things that help survivors and caregivers get their bodies moving, which we all know makes our minds feel better too.
Absolutely.
And we have different resources that we offer. So if there's something that we don't offer, we can help get you connected to someone who does. So that's a little bit about Cancer Support Community as a whole. Our goal is to make sure that no one has to face this journey alone.
Which is hugely important, just in every aspect and level of life. Now, for the Indiana group, do you guys serve all of Indiana or are there other parts?
Yeah, good question. So we actually just last year became Cancer Support Community Indiana. So now we serve the whole entire state. It used to be just the central region, but now we're the whole state. And we actually opened up a satellite location down in Bloomington that serves the south central area of Indiana. So we are here for anyone in Indiana, whether you're up north or down south, east or west, we're here for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's we are very happy to be partnered with the Cancer Support Community as well. Such a fabulous resource for us Indiana folk to reach out to, in our time of need, especially when cancer strikes. Let's see, my next question here kind of focuses back to the Moving Beyond program, which is, you mentioned, through Franciscan Health and then with you guys as well, the Cancer Support Community, kind of everybody works together. So if you could kind of tell us again who that program is designed for. A lot of times we hear a specific program is designed for cancer patients and people just get focused on that it's not necessarily for others. So I know that we said it once or twice already, but again, let's just really focus on that it's for partners, families, who else?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Moving Beyond was designed for folks who've had a cancer diagnosis as well as their caregivers, their loved ones. So most folks join us post-treatment after their treatment's wrapped up. But we do have people that are in maintenance treatment, or, people that maybe they have a stage 4 diagnosis and they know this is something that is going to continue to be a part of their life. So we are here for really anyone and everyone that has been impacted by a cancer diagnosis. We developed this program when we realized that there was this kind of gap in care for people that have wrapped up treatment and they're like, okay, well, what do I do next? What do I do with all of this that I've been through? And so we're here to help them kind of process this major life event that's happened, as well as focusing on how do we start moving forward? What are the next steps that I can take? So we were created to assist folks in just taking charge back over their well-being, not just their physical wellness, but also spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, social well-being, which I know is a big thing we talk about. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And why do you think, I know why I think this type of program is so important. Why do you think it is so important for people to consider if they faced cancer or are facing cancer?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times after a cancer diagnosis, whether it's happened to yourself or to a loved one, people are kind of stuck in this like fight mode or survival mode. So you get the initial diagnosis, you might have some surgeries or procedures, go through chemotherapy, radiation, different treatments. It's all just a whirlwind of different information coming at you. And so you're just trying to stay afloat. You're just trying to survive it. And so what happens with that is, since we are so busy just trying to push through, get through it, our bodies and brains don't have the capacity to make sure that we're giving enough attention to the other parts of ourselves. So we often, like I said, look over that emotional part of ourselves, and things kind of get buried or pushed to the back burner. And so we are really here to just, like I said, take charge of that well-being, not just the physical part of us, but also our other parts of ourselves. So I think that this program is important for that reason, to help people feel empowered to take charge over their lives again.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that you're definitely right there, that it sometimes takes a lot to get past that part of just the treatment and just surviving, and really kind of open back up to life again and all the possibilities and all the goals and all the things that you want to do. So I also think it's very important for people to consider. And with that, it's an 8-week program, I know, and each week is different. So like, what does each week involve?
Yeah, so every week is packed full of information, as you've seen. Every week consists of 3 main components. So we always have an education part of the class where we talk about different topics. And then we always also talk about nutrition and a healthy lifestyle, so movement, exercise. And then we also always have a stress reduction, which is where I come in. I'm the one that leads kind of the social, emotional part of the program. I teach the stress reduction topics. And so in the first week, we generally discuss survivorship. So what is survivorship? What does it look like? What are the things we're going to be talking about in this program? We kind of lay down the foundation in that first week. In the second week, we are fully dedicated to nutrition. So we actually have one of our registered dietitians come in. Back when it was in person, it was a lot of fun because they would go to the grocery store and kind of have a field trip. But now we do that virtually, which is still just as fun. We always bring our food labels, and we discuss and have really great discussions about nutrition. And then in week 3, we discuss emotional well-being. So again, that's where I come in. That's my wheelhouse. We talk a lot about just taking care of yourself emotionally. And then week 4, we have a guest speaker that does a presentation on symptoms and side effects management, which again, we have really good discussions in that class. It's usually a nurse navigator that comes in to discuss that presentation. And then week 5 is spiritual well-being. So we have a guest speaker talk about spiritual well-being, and we also get to practice some gentle stretch yoga. That's one of my favorite classes out of the 8 weeks, just to get that relaxation in. And week 6 is another one of my weeks where I present on self-care. In week 7, we have our wonderful Reclaiming Intimacy week, and we get to discuss our social well-being and taking care of our relationships. And then week 8 is all about your medical team and you. So it's kind of wrapping up the program, talking about what to expect moving forward in terms of, kind of what questions to be asking, what to be looking out for, and just what you can expect from your medical team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned week 7. That's the week that Reclaiming Intimacy joins in on, and we have such a great time. The sessions are so laid back. They're so open for discussion. They're so welcoming. That's one of the things that we love, just about being a part of it, and that people can, if they're not comfortable asking those questions, live, they can ask anonymously. They can email after, which we get tons of questions from people after, which is great, because it really just shows how functional everything is and really how centered it is around making sure that patients have whole care, emotional support, mental support, physical, everything just all in one. And so that's one thing that I love about it. One thing I did notice was in our session, we do exercising, after with everyone, and I've noticed some bands. So is that something that people get, or what do they get when they sign up for this? Extra pieces that might be needed or things like that?
Yes, great observation. So every participant does get their own box of materials. And I don't think I've said this yet, but this program is completely free of charge. The whole program is. Everything you receive is free of charge. So that box that they get before starting the program includes the booklets that have all of the presentation materials. It'll also contain resistance bands, a yoga mat if people are interested in that. We also give out some other little goodies to help with just getting started on their healthy journey. So a water bottle, some cooling towels, just a bunch of little fun stuff to help start that survivorship journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that things like that also kind of like boost morale. You've got these awesome things to try out while you're doing these new exercises, which kind of keeps it fun and exciting, which is definitely beneficial when times are stressful. So for this program, what would be the best way that people could get more information about it? Where could they go, or where can they sign up?
Yeah. So folks can email or call me for more information or to get signed up. I'm always happy to answer questions or just kind of talk through more in depth about the program. So Jen, I'll make sure that you have my contact information. That way
Absolutely.
you can display that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get it linked on this too. So it's super easy for people. Um, I know we've talked about, and we talk about a lot in the week that we are involved in, how support groups and things like that, where people who have similar situations kind of come together, that is, well, I've read and we've talked about how it's kind of like the top level of support, because it, with your peers, you get a different level of connection, understanding even. Do you think that that's true, that for cancer patients or even into survivorship and their families, that sometimes connecting with friends, with even strangers in these support groups can be some of the most beneficial support?
100%, Jen. I think that's right on point. I see this so often in all of the services we provide, especially in Moving Beyond. Simply sharing your story with others and having those others sit there and say, yes, I hear you. I felt that way too. That can be so powerful. In Moving Beyond, we see many different types of people. So different ages, races, genders, different types of cancers, different stages. But there's always these commonalities that individuals can connect on. So as a facilitator, that's a huge privilege to be able to be trusted with kind of guiding and holding the space for people to come and share their stories and support one another and just be heard.
Yeah, I totally agree. Another just kind of random question for you. For the patients that we deal with who haven't found an organization like yours, and it might not be in Indiana, this is across the country that this happens. How would you suggest is best for people to find organizations like this? Where to look? Who should they ask on their medical team? Because we hear a lot that, I'm asking my nurse, what are some groups in my area? And they look at me like I'm crazy. So, and I know it's different in every state, so of course, but for Indiana, we can focus on, but like where should people start when they're looking for resources that they might not have?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of times I suggest that people start with their nurse navigator if they have one. Nurse navigator can be a really great resource for someone that knows those local resources. I also suggest social worker. So usually in different cancer centers, they have a social worker that's there specifically to help link people to those different resources. And then if all else fails and you strike out on those two, go to cancersupportcommunity.org. We have a location finder where you can type in your city or just your zip code, and you can find different cancer support community resources there.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I think that this kind of gives people a little bit better of an idea of what Moving Beyond is, how to find some resources, and why these resources are so important. Do you have anything else that we didn't touch on, question-wise, that you think would be important to share?
I just want to reiterate that this is a free program. We're here for people all across the state. You do not have to be a Franciscan patient to attend. So if you're listening to this discussion and you're like, I think that sounds interesting. I think I might get something out of it. Why not? Why not join us? Just come join us and build those connections with other people. Worst case scenario, you're going to get a bunch of free information out of it. And so I just encourage you to come give it a try. We want to be here to support you because we know that this journey is not easy, and it also doesn't end when your treatment ends. It doesn't end at that final treatment or that final appointment. The journey is always evolving. So we want to be here to support you and just help you live as fulfilling a life as possible after cancer.
That's awesome. And I totally agree. I think that if you're watching this and you are even contemplating for the slightest second that it sounds like something you might be interested in, you should go ahead and give it a try. Next sessions will start in 2023 and then on. And I know that the schedule can be found through Kayla and through the website as well. So if you have any questions on this, Kayla, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to mention we also have virtual and in-person options available. We've been virtual for the past couple of years, but next year we're going to start going in person for a couple of the classes. So if you're like, oh, I don't know if virtual's for me, if you're in the Indy area, let me know. We can get you signed up for one of those in-person classes.
Yeah, awesome. Yes. And if anybody watching has questions about this, we can try to answer or direct you right to Kayla so that you can get your answers. Thank you, Kayla, so much for joining us today to explain this program and talk about things with us. We're so grateful to be partnered with all of you guys and that we can all be great resources for patients to just improve patient care all around. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching today. Stay tuned for more educational sessions with Reclaiming Intimacy. Have a great week. See you later.
Jen.